Hello everyone, welcome to Clantis podcast. I hope everybody is doing well. So guys, there's a question that I was asked. I believe the people that keep asking this question are West Africans. The question is, why do South Africans hate fellow Africans? It's far from the truth. Because if we hated our fellow Africans, they would not be in South Africa to begin with. The moment they would have landed in South Africa, we would have chased them away. But because South Africans are driven by the spirit of Ubuntu, which I have spoken about so many times here on this channel, we are people who were taught from childhood, and I will repeat this, from childhood, that we accept strangers. Because you will never know what your blessing comes in a form, what form the blessing might come in. It may come in a form of a person wearing a suit. It might come in a form of a person that is raggedy and a hobo. It might come in different ways. So we always hold that dear to our hearts because we also understood the situation that is going on the African continent. Of course, the African continent is riddled with all sorts of ills, wars, diseases, you name it, it's all here. And yet the continent itself is the richest in the world. Of course, we understand and we get it that all of these things are done deliberately so that those that sees the opportunity out of Africa, they pillage, they grape, and they steal from African people, and some of which are their own making, because it makes no sense to any South African that you are getting abused, used by the same people that's supposed to serve you, protect you, and make sure that you live a better life and secured in your own country. Like here in South Africa, and I've mentioned this, we have a mentality in this country where we say you can kill some of us, but not all of us. And that is why we hold our government to account, and we can even remove a sitting president like we did previously, simply because we came together, we united and said, you are not serving us the right way, please, here's the door. Currently, the president that is now, we are also calling for his resignation because there is a lot going on in South Africa and we will not be afraid. So I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm just going to answering this question, why do we hate our fellow Africans? We don't hate you. We never have, never will. But the way some of y'all have come to our country and disrespected the people of South Africa and continuously to disrespect the people of South Africa, calling us lazy. And you've become very specific, the type of South Africans you are going to go for. You're going for black South Africans. Yeah, you're going for black South Africans because you know very well what button to press and you know which way to drive us into humility that you have done over the years. And we've been quiet. We've been quiet since 1994. If you don't know what happened in 1994, we went to our first democratic elections after Nelson Mandela was released from prison, serving 27 years in 1990. And so in 1994, we went to our first democratic elections where he was elected the president of the country. And then we didn't even take a breather. Suddenly, we were having an influx of people, we don't know who they are. Okay, we accepted them. Nobody explained anything to us. Who are they, what they're here for, and how long are they going to be staying for? Because, I mean, a visitor has a time schedule, right? I'll visit for X number of days and I'll be gone after that. No, these ones stay on, and they stayed on, and they stayed on, and they stayed on. And some of them became so comfortable enough that they started disrespecting the people of South Africa. This is what we hate, the disrespect. The disrespect for the people of South Africa, the disrespect of our rule of law, as well as the disrespect when it comes to the competitive space that we have in this country, which is very, very small, considering that we just walked out of apartheid and colonialism, and just when we're starting to get to know ourselves and what position we should place ourselves in terms of the economy, in terms of education, etc., and so on. And already there were people that did absolutely nothing for the liberation of this country. And yet we South Africans have people that lost lives. Lost lives. Yes, there were African countries that made a noise here and a noise there and called for sanctions there and sanctions there, which is something they hold us to it. Like, we helped you during the days of apartheid. And then you're like, okay, fine. But does that mean you have to disrespect us? Does that mean you have to disrespect our laws, break our laws? And then when we speak, now one thing about South Africans, we take long to get angry. But once we do get to that point, it's a point of no return. And this is exactly what many South Africans are holding back. But now it's getting to that boiling point where South Africans can no longer hold it in. And I am telling you, it is bubbling under. And it has happened before. I think it was around 2008 where South Africans got to a boiling point. And you guys were fed a different narrative of what was happening in South Africa to a point where a word that we never even heard of was coined on us: xenophobia. They said, we xenophobic. And we were like, how are we xenophobic, when it was explained to us what xenophobia is? How are we xenophobic? And then the recent one, I think it was coined a few years ago, Afrophobia. Like we are fearful of our fellow Africans. And we're like, but how so? Because we've been living with you guys for almost 30 years now, or some even more than 30 years, because they came here in 1994. And no contribution whatsoever towards our economy, and they will tell you that they contribute when they contribute absolutely nothing. Every single business that most of them are running are illegal businesses. In South Africa, the immigration laws are very clear who can start a business in South Africa if you are a non-South African. I'm just going to simplify it for you. If you are a non-South African and you want to open a business here, the requirement is you need to have about $250,000 in your account. That's how much you need to have, about $250,000. In rands, it translates to about 5 million rand that you need to have. But these guys, no, they never did that. They bypassed that law and they open businesses that you would not actually call it a business. For example, how do you call selling of narcotics a business? And then when you talk about it and you cry about it, they say, oh, you are jealous. Why don't you compete in the same space as we do and become successful as we are? How do you become jealous of a person that's killing a future? And they target young children, most of these people, particularly Nigerians. I'm not going to be shy about this because they are the problem in South Africa. The problem. And they target young children. They also now recently kidnapping young girls. They're kidnapping them for all kinds of nefarious reasons, either for money ritual. Basically, they will unalive the girl, take some body parts of hers and sell it to a witch doctor. I kind of call that person a traditional healer, to a witch doctor so that they get more money. Something ridiculous like that. It's becoming a scourge, something that never used to happen in South Africa. They are importing these sort of crimes, kidnappings, where South Africans have never struggled with kidnapping as a crime before. This is an imported crime from West Africa, because if you read up on West Africa and the kidnapping as a business, it's a business. And now they are bringing that here to South Africa. They will kidnap business people, they will kidnap tourists, they will kidnap even South Africans, and then they demand for ransoms. Things that never used to happen. And you are telling me South Africans need to look the other way and pretend all of these things are not happening. And especially right now, as I speak to you, there are parents searching for their 6-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, all the way to about 30-year-old daughters. They cannot find them because they've been kidnapped for human trafficking. They've been kidnapped for money rituals, they've been kidnapped for ransoms, and all of these horrendous things. And South Africans need to lay back, roll over, and play dead about it, because we know very well that is not, that's not who we are. We do have crime in South Africa. We do have South African crimes. And those South African crimes, when they happen, we're like, oh yeah, that's a typical South African crime. But now these ones are becoming beyond belief. And the part now that we are discovering is that the police in South Africa have been corrupted by the very same criminals that come from West Africa, particularly Nigerians. Yes, Nigerians, because you're the ones that keep asking this silly question, why South Africans hate you when we don't. All we are doing is asking you, what war is going on in Nigeria that has made you leave Nigeria, coming to South Africa and doing the things that you are doing to our people? And you say every time when we take an action, why we are all black, we are all Africans. Okay, cool. If we are all black, we are all Africans, we're all brothers and sisters, then why are you hurting your nephews and nieces? Why, when it's convenient for you, then you turn around and then you want to manipulate the people of South Africa and ask questions like, why do you hate us? We are all brothers and sisters on the continent. I don't know where you come from. Here in South Africa, we protect our nephews and nieces. Here in South Africa, we protect family. Here in South Africa, we are a community. We are community-based. In South Africa, we are not individual-based. You go to any community in South Africa, very community-based culture that we have. You guys don't have that. And you want to come and divide us and introduce individualism. Unfortunately, some South Africans have caught on to this, and they think that community-based life is not conducive to become rich quick. You cannot be rich quick. Being rich, it takes time. Being rich takes hard work. Oh, speaking of hard work, by the way, they will tell us, you South Africans are lazy. We are industrialists. These are Nigerians will tell you that. We are industrialists. We are clever. We are hard workers. We are the people that build something from nothing to something. And then you ask yourself then, how come Nigeria looks the way it does if you are that type of person? I'm just curious to know why Nigeria looks the way it does. And also, I see a lot of Zimbabweans also climbing on the same bandwagon. We are hard workers. We are industrialists. We are this. You South Africans are lazy. Blah, 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 blah. And then we're like, but okay, all well and good. Then why does Zimbabwe look the way it does? If you are such hard workers, industrialists, intelligent, innovative, and all of, why are you coming to another man's land to be those so-called industrialists, clever and hardworking? Now, right now, South Africans are saying, okay, so you are hard workers, you are clever, innovative, you are all these amazing things. Now, our country, we have two types of health system. One is private, one is public. The public health system is free in South Africa. I know before a South African comes and say it's not free, it's taxpayer. Yes, indeed, it is funded by taxpayers, the public healthcare. And then we have a private one. The private one, of course, it's more like premium 5-star medical treatment that you are going to get there. But you pay a monthly fee towards a medical aid scheme or medical insurance scheme in South Africa. And there are a whole lot of medical aid schemes that are in South Africa. When you move to South Africa, you can choose any of them that you would like to. One of them is Discovery, which is, I think, international. And you get the best of the best of the best, of course, medical care. But even in the public space, you get the best of the best of the best medical care in our public hospitals. It's just that South Africans, they can walk into a public clinic or a public hospital with a gush on their head, and then they will get the best medical treatment, including treatment and stitching, and then you are sent home with medication, your merry way for to get recovery. Which is something you will anyway get in a private hospital. Now, these people that are in South Africa, most of whom are here illegally, they are demanding for something they have no idea where it came from. They have absolutely no idea that South African taxpayers pay to fund the healthcare system in the public sector. They think it's free. Some of them even gone as far as saying, South Africa get these medications for free from other countries. Other countries donate them. Like, do you loathe us that much that you do not see the effort that South Africans put in so that you, who comes from another country, and you walk into our clinics and hospitals, get free treatment, and you turn around and you spit on the faces of South Africans by saying that we get these medication for free from other countries? Not that they don't know. They know very well that South Africans that wake up every single morning and go to work, and then at the end of the month, their salaries get chopped in taxes, goes towards public health care. So they want to disregard that. They want to minimize it and make us feel small. And then we're supposed to keep quiet about that. Again, not once have I spoken about hate. It's not about hate, but it's about frustration. But I can say resentment is beginning to build up. That is why you are now seeing on the news South Africans going to public hospitals and clinics and saying, no foreigner inside. If you are illegal in South Africa, please, you got to understand this. If you are illegal, that means you do not have legal status to be in South Africa. They are refusing you to enter our public hospitals and our public clinics. And because of their own words as well, we are hard workers, or we are not lazy, we are innovative, or we are industrialists, or we build nothing to something, then you clearly, that means you have money to go and pay for private health care. Leave the public health care to the poor, lazy South Africans. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Because you take so much great pride of yourself and the way you look at yourself in a pompous way, then private healthcare is where you're supposed to be, where you are using your hard-earned money to get the best of the best healthcare versus the public healthcare that is funded by South African taxpayer. So no, we don't hate you. We never have hated you. I don't think South Africans are capable of hatred. I don't even think we know what that even means, but we are seeing things are beginning to bubble under because South Africans are getting angrier and angrier and angrier by the day. If you are seeing that as hatred, well, then I don't know what it is that I can say to tell you that it is your own doing that South Africans are now turning their backs and they are standing up and they are putting Ubuntu aside, because clearly Ubuntu is our paralysis, a catalyst for our parallelism when it comes to important things for South Africans, meant for South Africans, built by South Africans, for South Africans. So no, we don't hate you. We never have. I don't think we ever will. But your behavior is the one that is putting you in trouble with the people of South Africa. And we are seeing also the government trying to tame South Africans by using words that really are ticking South Africans off. Xenophobia will not be tolerated. Where are we committing xenophobia, Mr. President? That is why you need to resign. That's why you need to resign. You need to leave the office of the president because you are not working for the people of South Africa. You're not listening to the people of South Africa. You are so detached from the realities that the South African people are going through on a daily basis. So right now, as I said, there are parents looking for their children that they have not seen in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and few months, some even few days, because they are getting kidnapped by most of these people coming from Nigeria with imported crime of kidnapping and money rituals. And again, you expect us to roll over and play dead. That is not going to happen. And I think the world needs to know what is actually really going on in South Africa. We are under siege. We are under siege on a daily basis by people who are not supposed to be here. instead of going and fixing their countries with the intelligence, the hard work, the innovation, the industrialization that they have with them, and able to build nothing to something. Instead of building and fixing their own countries, they are coming here to fight for something they did not fight for. They did not lose anybody for. We did. We did. So we don't hate you. We just want you to go home and fix your country. That's all we want. That's it. So go fix your country, all of you. South Africa is not a charity where we do charity for people. We have our own issues. We've been having our own issues, and we've been parking our issues for a very long time, hoping that at some point you are going to leave. You know, just to share something, in the early, like let's say mid-90s, there used to be Kenyans and Rwandans also in South Africa. I think Sierra Leone's as well as Ivorians in South Africa, Angolians as well. The moment their countries began to stabilize, they all left. All of them, they left. And Nigerians, they clogged their way into South Africa, and they don't want to leave. And yet there's no war going on in Nigeria. No war. Absolutely no war. And the funny part is, when comes election time, they hop on a plane and go vote for the very government that is suppressing the people of Nigeria. Like Zimbabweans also do, the ZANU-PFers. Yeah, you live in South Africa, do things in South Africa. When it's time to elect, you run and go protect ZANU-PF. It's crazy to me. But anyways, I thought let me answer this question in the video because you asked it in the comment section, and I'm here to answer it. We don't hate you. We just want you to go home and fix your country and leave the children, the women, as well as South Africans alone. That's all. Let us start fixing our country because we know what needs to be fixed. And we cannot do that with you guys also right here on our necks, with the boot pressed against our necks. We can't do that. Anyways, please do leave me a comment down below, and I don't know how to solve this except to say go home. I'll see you later. Goodbye.